This August, Apple became the most valuable publicly traded company in the world, overtaking Aramco as its market cap soared past $2 trillion for the first time ever.
And that is a $2 trillion milestone.
Hey everyone, Tesla has been rising very fast, but the next one we have on our list is, well, you guessed it, Apple. Now, Apple is known for making their mobile phones, but that is not the only thing they're good at. They're also a subscription service. They also have a ton of products such as competing computers, AI, tons of features, tons of apps, tons of subscriptions, AI Apple Music, and there's tons more incoming. This is why I potentially think that Apple, as a payment provider, as all of these extra additional features, is going to be bringing trillions in additional revenue in the following years on the AI craze. If you guys want more content like this, be sure to smash that like button. Now, we all know that the main leader in sales is actually iPhone. So in 2022, Apple had 200 billion in iPhone sales, which is completely insane. But their other sales complete Mac, iPad, wearables, homes, and accessories, with also services bringing a huge income. But now, Apple is facing a different problem. Apple's main smartphone operating software competitor, Google, has a 78% global market share compared with Apple's 28%. Apple has never played a numbers game, but has actually played the sales game. You see, you don't need a ton of users. You just need a few users who spend a ton of money.
Have recognized that there are, in fact, some continuing hardware headwinds, if you will, but people are really focused on the next iPhone, the announcement.
This Apple strategy served Apple to have the highest cash reserve of any corporation in the world.
Shares of the company increased nearly 60% this year.
I mean, it really is history.
So how did this exactly happen? In 2011, shortly after the CEO has sadly passed away, COO Tim Cook took over as CEO. Cook has played a pivotal role in Apple's success from the time he joined in 1996 and is widely credited with establishing Apple's global supply chain, which relies almost exclusively on manufacturing capacity in China.
Out of their iPhone, with our biggest camera system advancement yet, including cinematic mode and ProRes video, the Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion, A15 Bionic with 5-core GPU.
Much of Apple's growth over the past 2 decades have been tied to the refinement of the supply chain, and Cook is said to more have doubled the company's revenue and profit, with Apple's market cap increasing from 348 billion in 2011 to 2.3 trillion by 2020. Definitely a very big amount. Now, the semiconductor shortage definitely helped, which meant in 2021, essential components for Apple's products were delayed or unavailable, further laying bare Apple's dependency on chips produced in Asia. And on this other channel, on our own channel, we talked how microchips are important. Be sure to check that out if you have not already. But Apple has significantly expanded its semiconductor patent portfolio and acquisition of semiconductor subsidiaries as a way of ensuring its influence over the supply. Now, this is one of the most important assets you can have in the world right now. Semiconductors are used everywhere, and countries are fighting for these semiconductors because semiconductors are used for AI, they're used for all kinds of cars, and they're used for just technology in general. Even your PlayStation 5, it has a semiconductor.
Apple shares are under pressure. They're off their worst levels from last night, but right now down by about 1.8%.
Apple CEO Tim Cook, and talk to him a little bit about that services record that they just posted. Earlier in the year, they were talking about these headwinds in advertising and gaming. Here's what he told me about those trends kind of reversing, telling me, quote, advertising has definitely accelerated from before, and the App Store has definitely accelerated from before. So again, those are two very key components, high margin businesses for Apple there. I also took a chance and talked to him a little bit about AI and the latest thinking at Apple there. Here's what he told me. quote, "We've been doing research on AI and machine learning, including generative AI, for years," adding later that, "and we're going to continue investing and innovating and rolling these things out into products that enrich people's lives." Also told me products like the Vision Pro wouldn't even be possible without artificial intelligence and machine learning that they've developed internally.
Now, Apple has just one slightly big problem, and if it can overcome this, it's gonna be a multi-trillion dollar company. The company posted quarterly revenue of $170 billion, which was down 5% year on year. But the biggest problem they're actually having is its ongoing supply chain problem. You know, here we see that the supply is far lower than the demand. They cannot keep up because of the microchip shortage. And you can kind of see all my videos correlate around one single problem, and that is microchips. Now, there's one big potential on what happens with Apple's future. Now, they have one advantage that a lot of other companies don't have. Potentially 90% of other companies don't have the advantage that Apple has. There's secret sleeve card, as they say. And that is very well their supply chain. They can easily obtain these chips to make the iPhones. Once you have the chips, which are in a very big shortage, everybody wants them and they're overpaying for it because they want it. They want to make them and they need the processing power for all sorts of things, from AI to mobile phones to PS5s to cars to fridges using these chips, and every big single company wants them, but there is not enough supply, and that is why NVIDIA has grown so much in value. But in its own words, much of Apple's future success will depend on the company's continuing ability to compete successfully, which depends heavily on ensuring continuing and timely introduction of innovative new products. So it's also important what they release, but this is why I think it's so important that Apple is gonna be the next big thing. You know, Apple in the future, in my opinion, is not gonna only release phones. It's also gonna release fridges. It's also gonna release cars. It's gonna release all sorts of things. They're just starting as phone brand. And they're gonna be having apps for everything. They're gonna be having payment cards. They already do. They're gonna be having all sorts of features. Apple Pay is a very, very big moneymaker. And these apps, they bring in tons of revenue. And they could be making the company only bigger and bigger. If you guys ever heard of snowball effect, which basically means when the snow starts rolling, it creates a huge snowball which is unstoppable. And that is Apple. Apple cannot be stopped. It's growing heavily and heavily, heavier and heavier, expanding faster and faster, building more innovative products, building more different products, which makes it a multi-trillion dollar company.
But I would look at Apple as an offensive and defensive stock. They're able to do well in multiple market scenarios. So I think that's what's garnering that type of premium that we're seeing on it right now.
The mobile devices can grow only so fast, can be upgraded only so fast. This is why Apple is going to be expanding, and already is, into other technologies, other accessories that will bring in tons of value, tons of revenue making. And this is why I am bullish on the iPhone, bullish on the Apple in the long term. What do you guys think about this? Smash that like button, and I'll keep you guys updated with more news. Until next time, peace everyone.